2025 is the year of the fraud checks. We have seen so many this year, and we are barely halfway through. I am currently recording this on the 24th of May, and we're just going to look at the fraud checks from the beginning of this year, or the beginning half of this year, and just recap them because there have been so many just massive fraud checks that have happened. So we're going to start off with the first one, Payton Talbott. Listen, Talbott, he had a lot of hype going into this fight behind him. Joe Rogan was pushing the hype behind him. He had a lot of hype behind him. He goes in there against Rani Baselios, minus 1,300 favorite, a 13-1 favorite going into the fight. He doesn't stuff any takedowns. Very poor takedown defense from Payton Talbott. He has no grit to try and get back into his feet or try and win the round by any means. We go into round number 2. I think he wins round number 2 just based on damage because he stayed on the feet for a little bit longer, did some good striking while on the feet, gets taken down again. He has no scramble or no effort, no JDM style to try and just get back up to his feet. So he wins that round, but doesn't look very good in it. We go into round number 3. Yeah, he's doing bits on the feet. Baselios keeps taking him down. Baselios takes him down again. Baselios, last 30 seconds of the round, Baselios is teeing off with him, pounding his face in. Talbott might like that. We don't know. Well, we do know. We do know what Talbott likes, but doesn't matter. Baselios is just smashing his face in with big ground and pound shots, teeing off last 30 seconds. Insane. And Talbott just he loses in the worst way possible because it's not like, oh, well, he got knocked out cold, whatever. It's a fluke. He got outgrinded, outgritted for 3 straight rounds by a very old, dare I say, mid-fighter in Rani Baselios. Mid-fight, dare I say. He is mid. Low-tier to mid-fighter Rani Baselios gets outgritted and just taken down. No takedown defense. Awful way for Payton Talbott to lose. On that same card, though, Umar Nurmagomedov. A fraud check. I mean, realistically, he got the title shot because his name ends in Nurmagomedov. If we're going to be real here, you don't beat one ranked fighter and then just get a title shot from it. That's not really how this works. Umar broke his weak baby hands on Merab's face. Merab's just built different, I guess. But Merab just outpaced Umar. I mean, they both looked pretty poor on the feet once they realized they couldn't really get any takedowns. So roughly around round number 3, Merab wasn't really landing any takedowns. Umar wasn't landing any takedowns for about 2 minutes. They both stood on the feet of each other, and you kind of just look at the fight and you go, these are our champs. These are the guys fighting for this title. Merab's got a left hand to the body and a right hook over the top. Umar's got a head kick that he can throw once in a while. You know what I mean? And a jab. Maybe a cross here and there. So, I mean, it's technically a fraud checking. It is a fraud checking, but Umar is still a very good fighter, and Merab's just built different with crazy cardio, apparently. Next up, Shara Magomedov. This was a fraud checking. This is similar to Payton Talbott in the way that he lost in the worst way possible, because Shara Magomedov is a striker. He went up against MVP, Michael Venom Page, who is also a striker. Shara Magomedov couldn't get past MVP's jab for 3 straight rounds. 15 minutes, didn't mix anything up, didn't shoot a takedown. Now, I knew he was going to get fraud checked eventually because, well, he doesn't quite have the grappling game needed to be high level in MMA. He doesn't really have a grappling base, despite being Dagestani. But MVP just threw out a jab every so often. He did his very slow, one significant strike a minute style. And Shara Magomedov couldn't get past it. He couldn't hack that style, which is very, very poor for Shara Magomedov. So, once again, loses in the worst way possible, especially when he's coming off such a good win over Arman Petrosyan, where he double spinning back fist him. But I guess you can't get past a jab and a reach of 6 inches, which sucks because he's got 73-inch reach. So everyone in the middleweight division is going to have longer arms than him. It sucks. But what can you do? What can you do as a fighter? You know what I mean? Maybe, work on trying to get past the jab first. But it doesn't really matter. Moving on. I think this one happened in March. Yeah, it was in March. Mick Parkin. He got fraud checked by Tybura. Tybura does what Tybura does. Marcin Tybura. He's a great fighter. I'd love to get fraud checked by him. Marcin Tybura just fraud checks another heavyweight prospect because we're not allowed to have heavyweight prospects. They're not allowed. Marcin Tybura does not allow it. You're not allowed to be a prospect at heavyweight. You need to beat Marcin Tybura. close fight. I scored it to Mick Parkin. I had money on Mick Parkin, but I'm not salty at all. Not salty at all. I think it was was it a robbery? I mean, it should have gone to Mick Parkin. He kind of gassed out in round number 3, if we're going to be honest. If you're gassing out against Mick Parkin, not Mick Parkin, if you're gassing out against Marcin Tybura, who is just morbidly obese, you are fraud checked, whether you win that fight or not. So, you know, he's still got talent, but I mean, it's kind of just stuffed his momentum out a little bit. You know, we were comparing this guy to Tom Aspinall, saying, well, we might give Tom Aspinall a run for his money. Can't get past Marcin Tybura. You're not giving Tom Aspinall a run for his money. You know what I'm saying? Moving on. This is more of an honourable mention, but we're going to say Sean Woodson. I mean, my brother's built like a xenomorph. I know technically he lost to Julian Erosa inside I think it was his debut. Not really a fraud check. But against Dan Ige, it was a little bit of a fraud check. I mean, it was a weird stoppage, but he was technically down on the cards. He was on a good win streak going into that fight, though, as well as being 6'2" with a near 80-inch reach at featherweight. Like, I think that's borderline fraud checking. Now, obviously, Dan Ige, he's undefeated against unranked prospects or unranked fighters and just cannot hack it against ranked fighters. So maybe Sean Woodson is just not that level where he can be a ranked fighter. And we found that out against Dan Ige. So technically, that's a fraud check. Technically. On a technical basis, this is a fraud check. Moving on. Carlos Prates. Obviously, Ian Gary is the most boring fighter on the welterweight roster. I would rather watch a Bilal Muhammad fight than an Ian Gary fight. And if you're calling me and if you're saying that I'm wrong for that, Ian Gary took a 100% finish rate, exciting fighter Shavkat Rakhmonov to a boring 48-47 decision. He took Carlos Prates, exciting fighter, 100% finish rate inside the UFC, 4 wins, 4 knockouts, never been past the second round before, to a boring 48-47 decision. This is what Ian Gary does. He's boring. This is what he does. And he does it against fighters like Carlos Prates. Obviously, Prates is a little bit of a moron because he could have, if he kept Gary on his back in round number 5, he probably would have got either a 10-8 or a finish, which would have left to a draw, which conveniently I did kind of had money on. If I'm going to say this right now. I think I put like a quid on it, and I thought, this will never hit. Because I think it was like not 1,000 to 1 odds. What was the odds on it? I knew I could turn that £1 into £10, so I thought we'll stick a quid on it. Why not? Almost happened. If Carlos Prates had, a little bit more energy left in his gas tank, he's 10-8ing Ian Gary inside that final round, if not knocking him out cold. So, all I'm saying, it's a fraud check, but it's also Ian Gary. So does it really count? Does it really count? It's Ian Gary. Because technically, Ian Gary, in his mind, fraud checked Shavkat Rakhmonov as well, even though he lost to him. He fraud checked him, apparently, according to Ian Gary. Ian Gary would have you believe that he fraud checked Shavkat. But whatever, we'll move. We'll move on to the most recent fraud check, Bo Nickal. This guy, man, once again, a common theme here. He lost in the worst way possible. He lost by being outstruck on the feet, out-gritted, struck and out-muscled in the clinch, and then out-grappled on the floor, where he should have had the advantage as a Division 1 wrestler. I picked Reina Dorida to win. I had money on Reina Dorida. I knew he was going to win. I'm a smart guy. Now, Bo Nickal, you are a Division 1 wrestler, and you can't get a takedown on Reina the Reindeer Dorida. Some goofy-ass guy coming in from one championship. You can't get a takedown on him. Now, obviously, Reina Dorida might turn out to be top level if he chins Robert Whittaker when they fight in Abu Dhabi, but come on. You're talking about beating Khamzat Chimaev for a world title in a sold-out arena. You can't get past Reina Dorida. And you lost in the worst way possible. You got outstruck. You got out-gritted and you got out-grappled. Out-muscled in the clinch. No strength whatsoever in Bo Nickal's game. No strengths whatsoever. Just beaten all round by Reina Dorida, which sucks. But I don't know why I'm so annoyed at this one. I just don't like Bo Nickal, to be honest. Just because he said he's going to submit Chimaev. Submit Chimaev. How about you submit? How about you submit anyone who isn't Cody Brundage? How about that? How about that, Bo Nickal? How's that sound, mate? Holy smokes! You took Paul Craig. Paul Craig has a body kick and a jab, and you took him to a decision where you didn't even shoot a takedown because you were worried that he was going to submit you off his back. Chimaev is shooting a takedown on Paul Craig, whatever circumstances. You know what I mean? You're not Chimaev, little bro. You are shit. Anyway, if you enjoyed, let me know. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.